Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this short tutorial. In this little video I'll show you what I do to add texture to this Black Templar Castellan or Marshal, however you're supposed to use them. I made a few adjustments to the angle of the arms and the head, as you could have seen on my Instagram account. Now I'll show you how we get a little bit of extra out of this miniature. Let us focus on the legs first. I found that a few areas were quite soft, so to say. Edges were missing, and I'm using my needle tool now to add grease and scratches where hopefully my washes used later will pool in a way that it gives more definition to the miniature itself. As you can see, I focus with all my scratches and battle damage on those areas that will catch the light later, as the light will shift with turning the miniature. I choose the best spot or the best angle, so to say, to do this. I now use a small pin drill vise to add a little bit of bullet damage or impacts by drilling not too deep, not too big, and keeping the impacts in one area, not all over the place, and then adding splintered parts of ceramite, so to say, with either needle tool or my hobby knife, going with the line the bullet would do greases on the armor. Can soften this up later with thin Tamiya glue if you want, or just leave it like that, or scrape over it with a hobby knife to get the roughest edges and excess plastic. I also have a look at those areas at the top of the shins to get the softness. Something like that. Now let's have a look at other areas where we can easily add texture to the miniature. There's another of these soft spots where I want to work a bit, and as said before, I focus all my textures on the highlighted areas later. The texture will give us the opportunity to dry brush those areas and thus have an easier go at painting the miniature. And we won't have to paint the actual battle damage, but we create it while prepping the miniature, so to say. Same here, where the cloak hangs over the feet or over the armor. I prepare all those parts where I else would have to paint very thin lines to get it defined well. The needle tool or the hobby knife are great to add a kind of worn cloth or linen texture to cloaks too. I simply scratch a cross-checkered and diagonal pattern onto the plastic, once again focusing on the areas that would catch the light to have a point of contrast there later. I'm trying to not overdo this, and you also have to remind that the folds that cloak on the miniature gives you are not necessarily those parts that would have the most wear and tear. So a better way would be to focus on the outer brim of the cloak or areas where it's already torn, or pick out areas where bullets went through, or just where the most wear and tear would be, like around the belt and the rim. Also could add, or would add, or have added these textures on the front. And all around the model. Hopefully this will give me the opportunity to save time when painting the miniature and give the whole thing a more realistic way. There are lots of areas where one could add more texture. Just play around, but try to keep it simple, don't overdo it. Here again, less is more. I hope you enjoyed this little video. See you soon, stay tuned, and be excellent to each other.